Welcome to the Deal Champs podcast. Sleepy Dean decided to show up on time because he's trying to get us to remove the Sleepy Dean nickname. And he's asking us, what else can he do to
what do we got to do here, man?
Of the Deal Champs?
Do? I even ran hills again today. I brought the wife and 2 kids. We're out here putting in the work. We'll see what we can do.
He sent me proof of funds for something I needed the other day.
I did send you proof of funds. I got that to you quick too.
Quick. With haste. It really was with haste. So I appreciate that. Points.
Lots of hastiness.
I don't know what you have to do on Jason's side, honestly, but you're going to have to do something.
Probably some more hair product or something.
Right, some more hair. Need more product in your hair. Your hair looks like you just rolled out of bed. So if we want to fully remove the Sleepy Dean, I'm going to send you some hair product, and I want to see a little bit more going on with your hair for next week's episode.
Hell yeah. My name is Stratton Brown. I am one of your co-hosts. I've scaled 2 different companies to 7 figures. We own a 7-figure real estate portfolio. And right now I am on a challenge to net 7 figures in 6 months wholesaling houses. And we're going to donate 10% of that actually to charity. So that'll be really fun. It's been an absolute grind. If you guys are wondering what it looks like to build a business and all the issues you're going to come up with hyper growth, tune in. I go live every day on a different subject of whatever's going on. And you guys get to see whatever's going on. And honestly, it's chaos. It's all chaos with this much growth. And so I think it's a really good learning experience for you. We have the master of hair with the hair out today, Mr. Jason Pritchard.
Hair is out. What's up, guys? I'm your other co-host, Jason Pritchard. Quick backstory on me. Worked in corporate America for 15 years, burned all the boats, and went all in real estate back in 2014. Have not looked back since. In the last 10 years, we've done 450 plus deals. We own a rental portfolio of just north of 100 units here in Central California. And as we always say, our goal with this pod is to try to transfer as much useful information to all of you guys that tune in and follow us every week. We want you guys to learn from our mistakes, shortcut that learning curve, and help you get to success in your business faster. So yeah, looking forward to today's topic and looking forward to providing some value to you guys.
And we have Sleepy Dean Rogers decided to show up on time. The hair still looks a mess, but he's awake. He's ready to go. The jet lag is the jet lag gone, Sleepy Dean?
The jet lag is gone. You know what? I got to say it bounced back way faster coming back to the United States than going to Europe. When we went to Europe, it was a time warp for like 4 or 5 days. We just couldn't snap out of it. We were waking up at 11, 12, 1 p.m. It was a mess, but yeah, much easier. I mean, the day I landed back in the United States, went and did a workout, and we all slept at the right time. It worked out really well.
Dean, did we get this in all the Facebook groups?
We're working on it. We're knocking it out over here, multitasking.
And your Instagram didn't share for some reason. I don't
know. Didn't share, so I'm redoing it. I'm following the steps right now.
All right.
Multitasking. So
there it is. Where's my phone? What's our first site? Should we start with the first one? I think this one is.
Let me give an intro real quick. Now you're cutting me out. You don't not even include me anymore.
I got to introduce himself.
So hurt. I'm the other co-host here.
You get your intro next week, dude, with the hair product. Yeah. Once you get your hair product in, we'll let you.
Yeah, bro. Once it's like styled a little bit more, you look presentable coming from a dude. I need a hair.
So I don't get an intro today. I'm not allowed.
No, go for it, dude.
All right. Thank you for your grace. Your other co-host here, Dean Rogers, got started my career in the NFL. Then I transitioned to corporate, then into real estate. Been investing in real estate now for over a decade in Central California, done 650 plus deals, rental portfolio 8 figures, and coaching students how to get started with wholesaling. So you guys can always connect with me at deanrogers.com, and excited for our topics today.
Great job. Solid intro.
Thanks.
You're bouncing back. You're getting back.
AKA Captain America. Some people might still think of me as that, but you know.
Well, Jason,
others not so much.
I am the official master of nicknames because I get them to stick.
That's it.
I have a power.
That's good. Yeah,
I have a power that like sticks with them, and so Dean is just terrified that Sleepy Dean is going to
It's
stick
gonna
with him
stick.
for the rest of his
I
life.
don't know.
There's going to be
Yeah.
somebody that stops me in an airport or in the hallways at an event and drops that. And I'm just going to, my gut's going to sink. And I'm just going to be like, Stratton. So angry.
All right. This is a good segue because we're all friends and we all get to we're with each other a lot, especially when we're traveling a lot. Like we were talking about like what we wanted the podcast to be. If someone could be in our car rides when we have to drive down to LA and do something, people would pay tens of thousands of dollars just to listen to that and how do we handle the problems, how we talk through it.
Those are the best conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, it's the best conversations, right? At the event, the best conversations for us came from the green room where we got to sit back there and talk to people and be in that environment.
That was cool.
So does your environment dictate your success in business? I'll let you guys go first. I have a very, very strong opinion of this one. Jason, I got it from Alan. I'd love to know how you think about it and everything else. And when you moved into the mansion, was the first time someone's ever spoken to me like, no, bro, this is different. It is much different.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% think that your environment dictates your level of success. And there's a couple different caveats there. And I'm glad that you brought up Alan, because I think some people allow themselves to be a product of their environment and they don't make any intentional changes if the environment isn't set up for them to be successful. And Alan is a really good example of that, right? So Alan's story, Alan Folio was a mentor to me. He was a mentor to Strat. I always thought his story resonated with me and it really stood out because he started out, didn't graduate from high school, did not have, a wealthy upbringing by any stretch of the imagination. His friends, family, parents and stuff had just a rough upbringing. And prior to him getting in real estate, he drove a tractor on a farm. And I mean, so this guy literally had no competitive advantage whatsoever. And he did not let his environment stop him from making the changes that he needed to make in his business. And so I think he made some very, very drastic changes. Yeah. Yeah. And he was very intentional about that. And I think it's a story that I can point back to say, just by him being intentional and going from this environment to this environment, his life changed. And that's what I really modeled myself after. I did not have as rough of an upbringing as Alan, but I didn't have really anything that was given to me either. And I constantly and consistently, and I think this will be a theme from all of us, have intentionally put myself in places where I can have my environment be one of the factors that forces me to level up. So I think 100% it makes a huge difference.
Dean, I think, and I'm going to come at Dean again right now. Dean does the worst job of taking advantage of his environment. We were talking about this yesterday.
Coming at me like that.
He's in the best place in America where money just flows down the streets and he doesn't leave his house.
We talked about this. We talked about this. So let me share the conversation we had. So the reality is, this is what's crazy about your environment. Okay. It can not only change your perspective, it can inspire and motivate you, see what's possible, but it will actually create opportunities for you just by being in the right environment. So just to give you some like real life exact examples, right back, going back to 2019, we had our first son entering into preschool. And when we had done that, we joined this private school in La Jolla. Okay. Now La Jolla, lots of money, private school, you'd expect there to be, who's who kind of there. Well, it was exactly like that. And within almost a full school year before the world got ridiculous and shut down, the people that we were now around, the conversations that we were having with parents of the kids in the class was insane. Like, was literally having conversations and lunches and spending time with people who were influential to like the state of California, to San Diego and different things like that. One of the couple guys that I would go and have lunch with regularly, these two guys, one of them was a producer in Hollywood, and his family his dad was an early employee in Dryers, the ice cream. And he had made so much money from the stock that he literally bought the La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club, which is right beachfront property. And they sold it to the Kellogg's family, like the Kellogg's family. And he had been going there since he was a kid. He would, stroll into, take me to lunch there, and everybody knew him. And, oh, so-and-so has been helping me since I was a kid. And, oh yeah, so tell me about your real estate stuff. And then it was, oh yeah, we're doing real estate stuff too. We're buying stuff in Portland. We're buying everything, all the land on the perimeter, selling it to developers. We got like $60 million of projects going on over there. Yeah, if you need money for any of your deals, just let me know. Like, that's how the conversations were. And that's just one example. And there's, all sorts of different entrepreneurs that I'm around. One of the parents in the class literally became a billionaire as he took his company public, which was a financial services company. And here he is at my kid's birthday party, which his kid attended. And we're sitting there talking about his company and how they just went public and stuff like this is the type of stuff and conversations that I have with people. And so does your environment matter? Yeah. I mean, I'm living in here, La Jolla. The houses that are around me are like $5 million entry-level house, like a teardown. And they're 2 blocks away. There's $20 million houses right on the beach. And so the people that I rub shoulders with and have conversations with not only inspire me, but can and have created some opportunities to be private lenders or just give me new ideas or whatever it is. So it's pretty crazy once you put yourself in the right environment, what can happen. To Stratton's dig there, the thing
he's too good of a dad. That's what it is. He's just too good of a dad.
I could selfishly be networking like an animal and having lunches all the time. Maybe I should be. Could be going to dinners and all this kind of stuff because that stuff's happening around the clock. But all my time is right here in the office, and then the time otherwise is spent coaching my kids at sports or taking care of them in the evenings or the weekends. So I don't do much networking here. Like you could argue I should, but whenever I go to events, whenever I go to speaking events or meetups that we host or anything like that, I'm networking as hard as I can. I want to be the last person to leave because there's so much opportunity just in networking and being around the right people.
For me, I think what you are exposed to will drastically dictate what your life will look like in the future. And I think this starts from an early age, and it kind of has a downside, right? Why some people don't allow their children to fly private with them, because then at a point in time, they're going to have to go back to flying on a normal plane, and that'll fuck up their heads. Legitimate. Like it's an issue. It's an issue that happens when kids are raised with tons of money. But for me, the most pivotal conversation I still have had in my life is when I met Alan at that meetup where I met Jason. And Alan said, yeah, I'm going to own a jet. And just being around someone who thought that way, I was like, oh shit, what? Like that's real? That's possible? Like I can go for those types of things? Because when you are young or you're just getting into business, you don't even know what you could actually go for. You just have whatever everyone else in your environment is telling you what's acceptable. And so being in the right rooms, being in the right environments, and I got this from Hormozy, here's like the big difference between the people who are rich and the people who are poor in their zip codes. One family is okay with their son selling cars. That is a good job for them. Another family is okay with their son selling companies, and that is the acceptable job for him. Both things, the thing that is dictated and that is possible is the environment that person grew up in and the types of things that he was surrounded with consistently over time. And so like, I'm huge with environment. Like when it comes to like, okay, who are your kids' friends? Who are your friends? Right? What country club are you going to in some type of way? I'm a part of a cigar lounge just so I can go talk to a bunch of old business dudes. Just so I can hear. And there's a billionaire who goes there, legitimate scratch billionaire. And I know when I have to go to that cigar lounge so I can talk to him. He's there on Thursdays at like 3:00. I know I can go and I can catch him, and he's there on Saturday mornings. But those environments are important to me, and I actively put myself in them. Can you hear him?
No.
I think you can be very intentional about like the business and the networking side, like masterminds or going to events. And that's one way initially to change your environment. And you brought up the house that we moved into. And here's how this has worked for me. And this has just been my personal experience. And the caveat that I'll say with what I'm about to say right now is, on paper, these types of moves don't always make financial sense on paper, right? And so I'm talking about like what I've spent for me living in the houses that I've lived in over the last 5 or 6 years. So like 5 years ago, we sold a house that Jennifer and I had owned that we owned very little on it. We had like a $1,600 a month mortgage payment, an opportunity to come up and move into like one of the nicest neighborhoods in Clovis popped up, and it was a house that we were going to have to rent. So I convinced Jen to sell our house, go rent this house for $4,000 a month, and just moving into that property like changed the way that I felt about myself, right? I raised the standard in my life to now I'm coming into a property that basically, Ed Milet, I've heard it say like it raises the thermostat, and now your thermostat is different, right? So when I moved into this house, it was a mansion, and you've been there. When I moved there, I would pull up to the house, I would open the gate, I would drive in, and I would be like, damn, bro, this is my new normal. And I don't want to go backwards anymore, right? Like, and so for me, in my head and in my business and in my life, I'm not going backwards from this. And this is the new standard that I've set for my life. And it doesn't necessarily like make sense financially on paper, like the house that we live in now. It didn't make sense on paper for us to spend the money that we did on this house. But now I pull up every day to this property and I feel like, damn, bro, all this work that I've been doing for the last 10 years, it makes me feel like it's worth it. It makes me feel like I've made it. And then you get all the other ancillary benefits. My neighbor next door to me in my house that I'm in now is a multimillionaire. He owns a lumber company. I get to sit down and talk with Ron all the time, dude. My neighbors on the other side of me are both doctors, right? The neighbors across the street are all wealthy. So you're just in this new environment where you're around different people, and your whole perspective and everything, not just about them, but also you change it, right? And it's that thermostat that I think Ed Milet talks about, that I think there's things that you can do to raise that thermostat and create new standards in your life that have worked out really well for me.
And you start to you just carry yourself differently. This goes into like investing with yourself too, to where the biggest thing, like let's say I was talking to a mentor when I spent like my first big chunk of money. He was like, bro, you think about yourself differently now because you just spent so much money on yourself to get better. Like you're the type of person who does these things. You're the type of person who lives here. You're the like, and it's a big step mentally. But I think it all starts off with, I mean, we could take it all the way back to like going to meetups and just seeing what's possible, seeing how people act, how people talk, how they carry themselves, how they converse, and then it grows over time.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you guys said it. The mindset shift that you get of this is the new me is without question one of the biggest things that I've experienced. Because I know for me, I was really scared to increase my cost of living and spending because I'm frugal. I'm investing everything back into the business. I'm in growing stages, and the wife's like, "Nope, we need to move here because I don't like where we're at." And getting stretched like that, but being put in that new environment and saying like, yo, I live right next to the beach now. I drive a golf cart now. Like, this is the new me. This is the new lifestyle. A part of you elevates up to that level, right? And now you show up differently, and you know that I need to be this new person. You can't be that new person without, that vision. And sometimes you have to be pushed into it in order to become that new person. So I think your environment is extremely important, because if you're not only in an uninspiring environment, you're around other people that are, potentially bringing you down or not pushing you up. So it's a people thing and a location thing, and either one of them can kind of pull you back and keep you down. So I think by elevating both will elevate you as well, for sure.
Is it me or you guys?
I think it's you.
I think it's you.
All right. We done with this one. We got another question.
I think we're ready for another one.
Let me slow it down. Who should be your first hire?
All right, first hire. So I'll go first. For me, when it comes to hiring, I think you gotta to look at it from a business owner standpoint, which is really difficult when you're wearing all the hats. And so the advice that I got and the advice that I followed was you need to look at all the tasks that you're doing throughout the day and what is the monetary value of those tasks, right? If I'm going to do this task, what would someone be paid for this task? And as you start to like literally write down the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis over a week, over a month, what are all the things that I'm doing? You can start to understand the tasks that you're doing that are a, $10, $15, $20 an hour type of task, or something that is $1,000 an hour type task. The things that really bring in the money into the business and move the needle. And when you can do that, then it's a lot easier to understand what those tasks are and what type of person, what type of role would take on those tasks. So for me, that's the exercise I went through. And I was able to understand that a lot of the things that I was doing that weren't moving the needle, but were important, were things related to paying bills, looking at mail and responding to mail, and a lot of the administrative type tasks. So the very first hire in the business, which was really hard to do for me, when you're starting your own business, you can't help but want to do all the things, and it is really important to you. But when I finally let go of the first hire, which was an office manager, right, an admin role, this person started taking on all the bills, organizing things. It took me some time, a lot longer than I should have, to have them start managing and overseeing the transactions of working with escrow and handling all that kind of paperwork as well. But once I did that, that was a whole nother thing that was lifted off my shoulder that I shouldn't have been doing in the first place. And that's the first hire that I think is really important. And if you find the right person, they can really just help alleviate a lot of the excess noise and stuff that's not moving the needle the most, the money generating activities, and help you stay focused on that.
I agree. I think it's going to depend. Typically, for most people in this business, it's a operations / administrative role, or it's an acquisitions role. It's usually one of those two things that you're going to hire out first. Everything that Dean said was spot on. I think you do need to kind of start taking an inventory of all of these things that you're doing in your business, and then just align them with what you're not good at. So the process should be like, I'm not good at this. I don't like doing these things. And then create like an order of priority and how fast you can probably hand these things off. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was always really good at acquisitions and I liked it. I didn't like any administrative or operational duties, but I forced myself to do it because somebody had to do it at the beginning. And so I, just like you, I hired that admin role out first and I stayed in that acquisition seat. And then I got to a space where I could afford to hire somebody in acquisitions. And then we started building out the team from there. So I think it's going to be one of those first two people for your standard real estate investing company, one of those two roles.
Only thing I'll add, and I bring up this book so much because it changed my life. I had to talk about this on Reese Simply's mastermind call. Unique Ability 2.0. This book right here, getting to know yourself and what your unique ability is and what your skill sets are. So that way you focus on the best thing that's making you the most money that you were good at. Everything else should be hired out. I know for me, it is sales and marketing and promotion. Like that's what I do. Operationally and admin wise, like the first hire for the wholesale lounge, admin, 100% admin, and then everything else. But for most entrepreneurs, I would say you have the vision and you have the conviction to sell that other people who you hire will not have. No matter what, like if you're the founder, you have the conviction to sell your ass off. No one else is going to have that type of conviction.
And that sales role drives the needle for most people the most anyways, dude. So it's like, I worry about hiring that out unless you found somebody that's a really, really good fit. And nobody's going to care more about that position than I think you as an owner at the beginning, right? So if you're going to hand some of these responsibilities off, part of that delegation is maybe identifying tasks that aren't as high leverage or as high risk, right? If you hand off acquisitions and the person that you bring in there just bombs, you're not just dropping the ball on that one deal. You're creating a lag in your business that could be 2, 3, 4 months down the road before it's even back to a baseline of normal. You know what I'm saying? Because all the leads that they were intaking, they screwed those up. All the follow-up they were supposed to be doing, they weren't doing that right. And then those deals got gobbled up by somebody else. So missing on that acquisitions role, I think, is more painful potentially than missing on the admin or the ops role. I mean, that position should be easier to fill out, and I can be a virtual employee, frankly, that can do it. They do a lot of that stuff for us and our team. So I think that's cheaper and usually the better route to go.
Go ahead, Dino.
Does it make sense to build off this question and talk about where to hire this first person? Like
where you're at in your business or what?
No, well, that's even a different question, which I like too, and maybe we save for another time, and maybe even this one for another time. But talking about like, where do you find these people? Is it Indeed.com? Is it, Facebook? Is it word of mouth?
I think if you're a basic human, go to onlinejobs.ph, and operational admin people are a dime a dozen. And that's not to be like facetious or whatever, but like there's lots of talented operational administrative people out there in the Philippines who you can hire on for like $4 an hour. You're going to get someone with an accent. Don't be looking for someone with perfect English. You want someone who's competent and can communicate well with you. But if they're not forward facing and they can take in English well and then speak a problem back to you on how they think it should be solved, you're fine. But I think hiring on a virtual assistant at $4 to $6 an hour, 20 hours a week at the beginning for admin stuff is a no-brainer.
I agree. I think also what you're going to have to pay for somebody here stateside in person in your office, you're paying a fraction. And you're probably, if you find the right virtual team member, that person is going to stay with you much longer than the person that would fit that admin role, right? You could get lucky and find somebody that's just happy, but that admin role is going to kind of get capped pay-wise, and you can't just keep ratcheting the number up. You know what I'm saying? And so it's easier to pay, my opinion, a high-performing admin that's virtual and have them stay around longer and be more consistent, because I feel like a lot of times in that admin role, you're going to end up paying, $20 an hour out here. And then that number is going to have to keep going up in order to keep them there, because it's just hard. It's hard to make a living off of that type of salary here in the States, man.
And like, they'll be okay with smaller increments. And then let's say, and this is terrible, but their golden handcuffs threshold to like, this is the best job in the world is significantly lower than you would have in America. Because like how Jason said, it has to keep getting ratcheted up. Bro, in order for someone not to leave you for another pay increase at that position, they'd have to be making $100,000 a year as like a basic administrator, or you're going to have turnover. To where with a virtual assistant, if you're paying one of them $15 an hour, bro, you're never looking for another one again. That person is going to do everything they can because they know that is the best job they are going to get.
$15 an hour. Yeah, dude, they
are all in.
That's excessive to me. I mean, I feel like, once you get to double digits on the VA pay, you are getting paid very, very handsomely. And at that point, I would structure their compensation in a way where it's tied towards,
right?
Yeah, it's incentivized for company related goals. So it's either based on the number of deals they help push through, or you find a metric that is aligned with what you want as a company and pay them a commission or a bonus based on them achieving that metric versus just ratcheting the pay up. I like that. I like that model better.
Sleepy Dean.
So for me, all right, laggy strat over there. So for me, I think I personally like to have someone in person. I think it helps with the culture. I think it helps with the overall like brand of the company. Because I know as we do things like our in-person meetups and stuff like that, just having all of those team members that are local have a presence there, I think is nice, at least for myself. So there's that to be said. I do see an issue with with the pay increases and the ceiling there. I definitely see and feel that. And I like to have local based employees. I know that I'm going to pay more for that. Maybe I'll be convinced over time, but I personally liked it. And the way that I've actually found all of my employees has just been through Facebook and word of mouth. It hasn't been through the job posting sites. I've actually I think it was the second office manager I went to hire was done through Indeed.com. I went through all these applications, all these interviews, and right as I was doing my last interview, my business partner says, "Hey, you know what? There's someone I was just thinking about. So someone I used to work with referred someone to me. We should interview them too." They came in the door, and we actually ended up hiring that girl. And it was no one that came through the Indeed or anything like that. So everything has been word of mouth or just posting on Facebook. We're actually looking to hire someone right now. We're going to be hiring a follow-up specialist within our company. I've been putting together the posts that I'm going to be making, and the plan is to post it on Facebook, to have my team share it out as well. And I anticipate that we'll get somebody that will be a good fit that we'll look to hire. So that's the way that I've done it. And like
that too. For a follow-up person, I think you're bananas for that one. I really do.
Convince me otherwise.
Why, you think it's bad?
No, ours is like the amount of outlay that could go out for a follow-up person to where knowing the type of talent you could get in Mexico.
They're virtual or stateside, Dean? Somebody that's coming into the office, or it's
He's hiring someone in the
be
office.
local. Yeah.
Huh. I think it's a good position. I would argue, just in my experience has been, I think if you find the right virtual team member, which is easier said than done, you can find somebody in that position that's going to be more cost effective for the company. The thing that I worry about with in-person and those type of roles, and you talked about it, is just how far does the compensation need to go up if you find the right person in order to keep them there? You know what I'm saying? And where do
The
they
staying power
go
of it.
into? Yeah.
Yeah. Because like for this person, if I'm getting paid $200,000 a year myself at an entry-level job, I can say it's okay as an entry-level job because I'm getting paid a ton of money. Right. But then the thing you run into is that the compensation isn't enough. And then that person, the entry-level job gets a ton of turnover. And so I want to eliminate that turnover in that role, because that person is going to want to step up into that sales role. Then I'm going to have to replace that again and replace that again. That's just where my head goes to where, like, I think Nick Perry just has a chick in Costa Rica who's been with him for like 5 years, and she does all of their follow-up. I mean, like, that's her job, bro. She gets paid crazy good. She logs her hours. We don't have to worry about it. And everyone's happy. So it is a mixture.
I do think that right now you have leverage, Dean, for sure. And I was having a discussion with somebody else about this right now. I think for the businesses that are thriving in this market, because a lot of people are retracting in the current market that we're in right now, right? So I think talent is available to be had for the companies that are thriving, and for people that maybe have been doing well the last couple years, right, and have found success, and now the market shifted on them. They might be more interested in kind of hitching their wagon onto a train that has, you know, a lot of potential. And so I think you can right now, I think you have leverage to find that talent. So if you're going to look for somebody that I don't want to say that you can get on the cheap, but that you can get good value right now and that has some room to grow, I think this would be the marketplace to do it, because not everybody is thriving. Most people aren't, dude. So I think you can use that to your advantage right now for sure.
My last tidbit on this. Now is the best time to hire people, because the good people are getting let go, because people have to really tighten their belts, like Jason said. The best time for us in hiring and call magicians was right when COVID hit, and we got 3 people. 2 of the people were making 6 figures a year working on cruise ships, and we got them for $7 an hour in Mexico. And they were insane sales. Their job was to sell high-end jewelry on cruise ships. That was their job. And so we got one of them as an operational person who trained our salespeople. Another one handled our HR stuff. Then we got Glenna, who was managing over 1,000 people at Alorica, who got let go, all because of all that tightening during COVID. And so a lot of the growth in that company was due to us being able to acquire world-class talent on the cheap.
Bro, side note, we travel so much, and I always tell Jen, like when we go to Mexico and different places, if I could just bottle up the desire and the hunger that the salespeople have overseas and just take that and figure out a way to transfer it back here, we would all be billionaires, dude. Because I mean, there is like we've walked through so many airports or hotels or different things, and it's just like
Nonstop.
they are hungry for a sale, bro. It's just the level of drive that I have and I see from them, dude, is honestly pretty impressive, and I'd love to figure out how to duplicate that out here.
I love it. Dean, did you get the private message from Jason?
What are we looking at here?
You want to go with the problem first, Jason?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Let's answer these. I got a couple random questions in my IG chat, and then we'll go with the issue of the week. So I've got a couple people that have asked some questions. We appreciate you guys that are streaming in and sticking with us here. I've got a question from Eduardo Nunez for the group. He says, what are the main things that you guys look at when deciding to keep a property as a rental versus just selling it? What do you guys think when it comes to that? Thanks, Eduardo, for the question. Appreciate you, buddy.
For me, it's cash in the bank of what that is, and then what my overall goal is. For us, because I'd say I'm not looking to keep houses. I'm looking to keep storage or like a good creative finance deal. For majority of the good creative finance deals, if it's in a good C-class and above area, we can keep our entry fee below 10%. I know me and Kyle would want it. If it's a storage facility and it's a good deal, I know me and Kyle are going to want it. If it's anything else, like all these houses that we're looking at across the country, that's not what I want. Like we were talking to a seller today who owns a property in 6 different states, not portfolios in 6 different states, properties in 6 different states. And I would kill myself if that was my life. And so I know what I want and what that needs to look like and what my goals are. And so I have a certain amount of storage I want to buy. And so I know I can pursue that. Creative finance deals as they come across, I know what a good deal is. But wholesale wise, I'm not burning like Dean and Jason. And so I just know what my path is, I think is one thing that a lot of people don't know. And they don't have any clarity on what they want their portfolio to look like. I am very clear on that. And then Jason will probably have the same thing.
Yeah, I think clarity first, just get a good understanding of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, Edward. And then my decision-making process, once, my goals were very clear at the beginning. I just wanted to grow and scale my unit, my portfolio as fast as possible. And I was targeting single family and small multifamily. And so in order for me to do that, it needed to fit that BRRRR model without me having to leave a bunch of cash stuck in the deal. So I had to be able to BRRRR the property out. And then I had to have positive cash flow to the tune of $300 to $500 a unit or a door after all of the other expenses were accounted for. And if I could check that box at the beginning, I didn't care as much about the neighborhood or the location or the other things. I just wanted to make the finances work. Now, as my real estate investing journey has grown, I've learned to care more about the area than location, and I don't want things in necessarily rougher areas. And so now if the neighborhood is too rough, I'll consider that. But I still don't want to be sticking a lot of money into a property unless I really, really love it. Ideally, we've created a business model where we can find really good deals, and I just want to cherry pick the best ones. And that usually means that I'm not going to leave a lot of cash stuck in the deal. I want to be able to get my money back out and execute a BRRRR refinance and be able to hold the property without any money stuck in it.
Yeah, for me, I think you guys unpacked a couple different really important things there. I'm just looking at one of my spreadsheets right now where we're evaluating a rental property right now. We have first we're kind of overlooking the property, but once we broke down the numbers, we realized it's probably something that we want to take down. Now, most of the rental properties that we own are single family houses, so it's even more of a, do I want to flip it, wholesale it, or keep it as a rental? The property we're looking at right now is a triplex. And first and foremost, we are always looking at how much cash do we have in the bank? Does it make sense for us to buy this? Assuming we need to come out of pocket on buying this. I'm the same way as Jason for many, many, many years. Every single rental that was purchased using none of my own money. And we would buy it. We would finance it with a private lender. They would finance the purchase and the rehab costs. We would refinance it and have no money left in the deal whatsoever. And looking forward, as I learned a lesson last year, having to pay multiple six figures in taxes and the pain that I felt from that, I realized that if I have to come a little bit of money out of pocket on some deals, as long as it's not too much, I'm going to do it rather than literally just light it on fire and give it away to the government. Doesn't make any sense. So I'm looking at this property right now, and this triplex we can get for $83,000 a door. And all the numbers come out to basically we'll be able to cash flow $650 a month at the current interest rates, and we'll have $90,000 of equity, and we'll have to come out of pocket $50,000 when all the dust settles. Okay. For me, when we do a cost segregation on this property, it's going to be more than the $50,000 out of pocket. It's going to save me more in taxes. And rather than just coming out of pocket to the government, I'm going to buy another rental here and just add that to the portfolio, let it grow over time. Now, another thing that's really important, go back to really the root of that question and just making some assumptions here, is buying rentals is not something that's going to benefit you right now. And we've said this over and over and over again. Unless you got the craziest deal and you plan on selling it in the near future, every rental that I've bought is not benefiting me right now. It will only benefit myself and my family like many, many years in the future. This is delayed gratification. This is a long-term game plan. This is not something that's benefiting me right now. It's only benefiting me from a tax standpoint because I'm writing off the depreciation from these properties. But otherwise, I'm not. So if you feel like you need to buy rentals because you want to be cash flowing and replace your income, I haven't found too many people that are just cash flowing off their rentals and living the good life unless they're paid off and they're literally free and clear. So unless that's your plan, the rentals is a wealth builder over in a wealth store and in a tax saver
it is
type
not
of strategy
wealth
from
creation. It is not wealth creation.
Not wealth creation. No.
You're not going to make your money with rental properties. Like with our storage facilities, yeah, they actually do cash flow, and I love them. But this is a 10-year game. This is not wealth creation for me. Like we have other stuff that we are doing to actively go make money to build our wealth. And then the real estate is, for me, it's taxes. I think for taxes, and then 20 years down the road, when you just keep buying real estate and you have the machine that does it, you look back, and if you want to sell it all off and trade into just one big asset, you got $50 to $100 million worth of stuff you can sell. Right. And then you're set to go. But it's not wealth creation. One thing I wanted to bring up, $83,000 a fucking door. When I got into this, we wouldn't buy stuff over $50K a door. I remember Alan being like, bro, what? $60K a door? What are they high? No, we're not fucking doing that. Tell them to go fuck off.
That's funny. Yeah, my partner, he called me. He's like, dude, we were able to get the price at 83 a door. He's like, you don't hear that too often right now, under 100 a door. So let's run the numbers. Let's look at it. We ran the numbers, and it's like, yeah, we're going to keep it. We're going to do it. And we like it. So
Jason, what's your problem this week, bro?
Listen to this. I wanted to run this by you guys and everybody else that's on the chat to get your guys' opinions. So feel free to drop your comments and let me know what you guys think we should do. So last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, I got an email on InvestorLift from an out-of-area investor that's wholesaling a deal in Fresno. I saw the address pop up, saw the deal pop up. I immediately knew it was a deal based on what he was asking. Literally, while I was driving to the gym in the morning, I pick up the phone, I call the guy, and he sent this deal out at 200 grand. It's worth like 375, 380, something like that, right? Delivered vacant. So I called him and I said, hey, is this deal still available? And he goes, dude, I'm getting blown up on this thing. Everybody wants it at 200. And I said, your InvestorLift buy it now price is 205. I'll pay 205. Right now I have cash. I'm ready to go. I don't need anything else. And so we're texting back and forth as I'm driving to the gym. I pull up. He goes, hey, dude, I've had people offer me more. Okay. But I already told you, yes, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to send you the assignment right now to sign. Please send me a screenshot showing proof of funds. So while I'm walking into the gym, the assignment shows up. I sign it. He signed it. I screenshot my bank account, send it over to him, and then we're good to go. So then he messaged me and he goes, hey, we're just waiting to get clear title. We want to make sure there's no blah, 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 blah. And I said, fine, just connect me with title. We'll get my earnest money in and then go from there. This is 2 weeks ago. Okay. And I have heard nothing from this person since then. I've sent 3 different text messages. I've got left on red all 3 times. So I see that they're reading them. Hasn't responded.
Red.
It says
bro,
red, not responded. Okay. Oh, it's gone. I know that it's gone, right? But my question is like, how do we respond now, and how hard do we want to take it, right? So, where's I have a text conversation that says, "End of my work." Okay, I've already told you you're going to have it, like it's your deal, and then he sends me the assignment agreement, which he signed and I signed. Okay, and now it's basically like radio silence, and so I found the guy on Facebook. I've messaged him on Facebook. He's not returning my calls, not returning my text messages. I feel is gone, but I'm just like, what do you, I don't understand how you can sell me this bill of goods. Like, hey dude, I'm a man of my word. It's a done deal, this and that. And then like not respond to any of my calls, text messages, and legitimately just leave me on red without anything.
Lots of dudes' dicks go inside themselves when integrity comes into play. Like we talked about last week with money. When money gets involved, dicks shrink is like the best way I could put it. Because people say they're a man of their word and then they just can't pony up when the time comes. That's why we don't ever have a buy now price when we send it out on Investor Lift. Because I don't want to have to turn down 50 grand on something on the off chance that I do send out a good deal. And then someone's like, hey, nope, I'll take it. Tell everybody, go. Because I have to honor that. You have to honor that if you are a good businessman. If it was someone in our community, their name would be burnt to the ground. Is all
and I understand the legalities. I haven't put earnest money in. So even though the assignment's been signed, I understand that I don't have a legal interest in this thing now. So I'm not even talking about the legality of it. I'm talking about the ethics, dude. Like, like if you're going to like tell me all of this shit, that you're a man of your word and it's a done deal. I have been in that, like on the other end of the spectrum. I've been in that position a number of times, dude. Literally a number of times. We just did a deal. And I was talking to Lewis, you and me, Dean, on this Petaluma deal that you guys bought recently. And Lewis was like, bam, on it. He's like, here, I'll give you your price right now. And I was sitting there with Scott and I was like, done. Let's just sell it to Lewis. It's good. You guys are rock solid, blah, blah, blah. 2 minutes later, we get a call from like another buyer who we've done a lot of business. And he goes, I'll pay you. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was $10,000 more than what we had already verbally agreed to you with you guys. And I'm like, no, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's done. I'd rather not make $10,000 more than like drag my own name through the mud and do that, dude. And I just don't understand how, I understand, but it's still hard for me to process like how people do stuff like that, bro.
I think that was a deal about our community, bro.
That was a deal he brought to his buddy Brent. So I wasn't involved in that one. Lewis told me about it, but that dude, I've been in that situation so many times, and I honestly take so much pride in being able to say, and on the other end of the phone, they know because they've experienced it time and time again, to say like, done, we've got a deal. I don't need to say anything else. It's already done. If I don't send you the contract 3 hours later, like it doesn't matter because we already know the deal is done. And I have been in the position where I've had tens of thousands of dollars, literally like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Just like for whatever reason, that person just loved the property. They saw a different number, whatever it is. And I just, nope, it's sold. You know, keep your eyes peeled for the next one. And does that suck? Well, sure. It'd be nice to make more, but when you know you're doing the right thing and that's how you're going to do things all the time, man, that's going to just the longevity of business, sleeping good at night, being that kind of person is far more important than someone leaving you, Jason, on red. Like that's just so wrong, dude. And not even responding,
Terrible,
no response,
bro.
Yeah, that's no response, bro. Yeah,
brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. Was he like a younger dude? I've seen it
I
with
don't
a
know.
lot of
And
young men.
I don't even know. Literally, like everything up until that point was perfect, dude. Like he answered my call, very responsive with text, sent him my proof of funds really quickly. He was like, great. Assignment agreement came like a couple minutes. I mean, it felt like I was like, damn, they've got everything dialed because the speed that he was getting everything out. I was like, okay, they're on it, dude. And so I was like, okay, great. And then after that, I mean, it's like we've had nothing. There's been no response, no nothing at all. So, I mean, I've chalked it up, but it's still a sour pill to swallow.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Adrian Herrera on IG says the only integrity you can control is your own. Keep your own integrity, and that deal you missed will be almost nothing compared to how much you will grow with integrity. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like as long as you do the right thing and you don't start to go sideways, like you're gonna benefit and you're gonna get a couple more deals just as a result of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal. I can't believe he left you on red, bro. Turn off the read. Turn off your read receipts.
At least
I would,
if you're gonna do people
honestly,
dirty like
dude,
that, right?
Bro, if he would have just been like, look, man, somebody blew me away with the number. Okay. And this is the reality. And this is it. Somebody blew me away with the number. I still would not be okay with you saying, hey, this is my work, because I wouldn't do that. But at least come and say, listen, bro, somebody came in 30 grand higher than you. I can't do it. And I'm just giving you the courtesy of saying, no, this is it. And we're not going to move forward. Not responding at all is the absolute worst thing that you can do.
That's the worst
situation. Own up to it. You know what I'm saying? Like at least own up to it. I'll have more respect for you.
Own up to it.
Yeah.
Chris on IG says, let's add him on the video call. That'd be pretty epic. Try to patch him in.
I'm waiting for him to accept my request. I'm waiting for him to accept my request on Facebook today. But yeah, it says he hasn't accepted it yet. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. SJ Martinez says, especially as a man, you can only measure them off their integrity. Strat, you made a point, dude. I think it's really sad to see. And I can say as a young man getting started in the business, I was put in positions where I had to check myself and I had to ask myself the question, what kind of man am I right now? What man am I going to be? Like, you have to make these decisions. And once you do it over and over and over again, you know who you are, you know what decision you're making. It's the right one every time. There is no question or conversation internally. So you build that muscle and build that identity for yourself.
Young men didn't have fathers in business, I think, is one thing. I like the young dudes who come in and like burn shit to the ground. It's like, bro, you haven't had anybody holding your hand telling you, no, this is not the way you do business. This is not the way you operate. This is a very long game that you're playing. That's what I've seen, at least when I see young wholesalers come into the game and act like dipshits. It's because they haven't had anybody to kind of be like, no, bro, that's not how you do things here. Like, they don't have a good mentor. Yeah, they probably had a great dad, but did their dad handle all sorts of different transactions with people and business dealings with people and had to hammer that through with them? Probably not.
Yep. Yeah. Our first core value is integrity. And I was just telling my wife this yesterday or the day before. If someone questions my integrity or questions who I am as a person, that to me is the biggest insult, because I spend my whole life taking all these life temptations, all these things that could be distractions or that would, blur the lines of integrity. I do everything in my power to not be in those positions and to be the person I say that I am. And so when someone does question that or hints at it or anything otherwise, like, that just gets me at the core,
Like when someone calls you Sleepy Dean.
You freaking knew it. You knew it. I was tempted to say it. It was actually, this was me directing that comment towards you. So yeah.
Jason, do you got a hop or you got time for one more?
I've got to bounce right now.
Dean, did you want to do one more or should we hop?
We could hop. Adrian said we're running marathons, not sprints. I think that's a great way to think about it.
And then TJ Cozen said, who's that sexy mofo on the bottom with 2 huge eggplants? That's me.
Did not say that.
He did. He said it on my IG.
Oh, he did.
Bro, TJ said that. TJ said that.
God. He did say it. Oh my God.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe If you learned anything, share it with your friends. That's how we keep growing. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
Appreciate you guys.